Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael. Grandkids call me Ruth. Thanks for being on live Saturday morning. I am right here at the desk. And it's amazing because I feel like I slept here. I was like, what time is it? What time is it? Time I finally got everything cleaned up, picked up, put up somewhere. I was, lo and behold, it was midnight 30. And so here I am. Got a big old wide shot this morning. You can see out here the edge of my computer that drives the show. You thought I drove it, huh? No, this is all driven by computer. I'm actually just a 3D image that's been projected out across the backdrop. What is that? A something glyphic. Not a hieroglyphic. Those are what the Egyptians wrote with. Which most of my writing looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics. So thanks for being on the show today. Hey, the camera's moved over a little bit, so if I lean over here to check my good mornings to you, which I'm going to say some here in just a minute. Hologram, thank you. Man, I really need you people. If I ever had to buy a bus, you know the big on the coach MCI. I bought a couple of those one time for a guy that I worked with, and he needed a couple buses. If I ever needed one of those buses, a coach, to go on the road, I would have to have several of you there to carry on puns and tell me what it was that I really meant to say. I love it so much. Anyway, blessings to you on Saturday morning. I'm still cleaning up the desk, and so thanks for being on. A couple things I got to tell you that happened just this morning that I've been running around. I'm going to take these colors here before I say hello. These are Yasutoma Japanese colors. I would tell you what colors they are, but I don't read Japanese, and it's all right here in Japanese. I was thinking, and we're going to have a talk when I get to Orlando. I'm going to say, you know what? I see that you have the Japanese symbol that is your letters that spell out what these are. Could you just put the English spelling for guys like me, for rooster painters who go, oh, this is Gunjo. Yeah, Gunjo. What color is that? And then, is this the top or is this the top? So me and Phoebe are going to have a long talk, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to go, is this the bottom? Well, it could be the bottom here. So front or back or what? I don't know. And this matches this. They even have them. Oh, wait. They're even numbered, but I don't know what number is what. So for what it's worth, I'm going to say, just for dummies like me, could I have the Japanese set for dummies? Or could you guys teach me all these words while I'm in Orlando? Is probably the best thing to do culturally, and I love that. All right, so I'm painting with these today. The whole point of that was to wake these colors up. Wake up! All right, so I just give them a little dusting here. And this is literally like mist in the air, like our lives are. We're a mist. Did you know that? That's true. Wow. We're here for a short time, people. I didn't mean to get all heavy on you there. I'm just saying, enjoy life while you got it. Saturday morning, I'm up. I had a Tom Sawyer evening. Thank you for my Tom Sawyer evening. And here's what that means. That means that, when Mark Twain wrote Tom Sawyer, Saturday morning was come, and all the summer world was bright and fresh and brimming with life, and there was a song in every heart, and music issued from the lips. Cardiff Hill and beyond the village was a verdant green. I memorized the entire second chapter of Tom Sawyer wants to do in a show because of the whole steamboat thing, where they come out and start to paint the fence, and Aunt Polly takes her shoe and runs them off, and Tom looks down the fence line, and he's just a great melancholy spirit comes over him as he realizes it's a continent of unwhitewashed fence. She hands him a bucket and a brush and basically sends him off. And then, of course, he takes his pocket knife and his bully taw, his shooting marble, and he does all that, and he sets out about trading those things for people who thought, wow, he's given us an opportunity to paint. Sometimes I feel like Tom Sawyer. Oh my gosh, I love it so much because you guys do my work for me, and it's just so fantastic. I saw so many quotes last night, and that's one reason I was up late looking through all the things that I couldn't see during the auction that some of you were posting in between, because I'm watching the clock. I'm doing a halfway okay job, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't rip anybody off by 2 seconds or whatever, and I'm trying to do that the best I can. And you all are talking about the community and how this is the craziest bunch of people and hopeful people and helpful people that you've ever seen. I love it so much, so thank you. In a way of Tom Sawyer would say, hey, I'll trade you an apple core for that if you'll paint it. And people do it, and they come to life. Mark Twain was a genius, you know. I love things that he said, and I quote him often. He said one time that God had to be a God of great grace, as cheap as lightning is. Think about that quote for a minute. All right. Hey, let me say hi to some of you. I'll put on a little bit of just a little touch of music here and say good morning. And then I'm going to jump on something really fast. I'm going to read you a couple paintings. As I was digging through the paintings last night for the auction, I found 4 paintings that go way back. And I want to share them with you just because I want to show you how my brain is just firing and what it does. And this, I have some Kilimanjaro paper up here, but actually, this is the size paper that I normally paint with right here. This is why you have such a wide shot today. This is the paper, and I usually pull on it very tight, so it's hard to tell the size. This is 10 inches by 5.5, or if you prefer, 5.5 by 10. So you wind up getting about a 9.5 inch painting out of this once the rip has come loose. There it is right there's a little piece. And it's beautiful paper. In between all the watercolor 140 pound bright white, ultra bright white, is these little slip sheets, which are pretty doggone heavy, and I love to, you can even watercolor on them, but I love to just work out, and I learned to work out paintings on this with pen, pencil. Certainly pen does well on this. Very slick, very vellum covered, and they also make great cover sheets for your art. So that's usually the size that I paint on. Take a look at this real estate here, okay? Just watch closely as he unrolls the tape. This is a piece of 140 pound cold pressed watercolor paper laying on my desk. There it is right there. It's 24 inches by 18 inches. So 18 wide, 24. So I had to pull the camera back. I'm going to paint a big old Roo this morning. I think I'm going to paint him about, let's see. I think I'm going to mark this just a little bit. I think I'm going to go into about right here, right there. Oh, you can't even hardly see that, can you? Well, all right. So we'll go there. I'll pull the, and then I think he's going to be about 16, 17 inches. Somewhere right in there, I think is probably where he's going to fall. And I'm just making some mark like this to get him in this painting. I'll probably have to, I don't know how it'll come out. I may just sketch it in pen and see how it works out. All right. So that's it. Let me say hi to some of you. I was going to start some music. Do I sound hyper? Nah. Latin Couch, thanks for being on the show. Stephen Dockery, good morning to you, sir. I hope you got a little message. You sent me a note. Is Patreon, I think I responded. Patreon, the people that are signing up for Patreon, $11.57 a month to paint with me on my 90-minute classes, and the Good News Roo class is included in that. It's going to be on a separate page, but everybody will have links. You can choose to where you want to go. Not on the same day, maybe on the same day. One will just be later than the other, okay? All those paint classes will remain on those pages, and you'll be able to go back at any time. And I'm making a major shift. I was going to YouTube, and I'm not going to YouTube right now, it looks like. I think I'm going back because most of you have found it easy to view this on Facebook. YouTube has an entire change in quotes and comments. They're hard to see, hard to respond to. They shift from one side to underneath depending on it. It's awkward. I've been practicing it all this week and I don't like it. And I think it's going to mean like 3 extra clicks for people to get from my stream to Patreon, back to YouTube, and then to set up. And then you've got to be, if you're going to comment, you have to be signed into YouTube. And I don't think that's good for my audience. So I'm going to stay with probably a Facebook piece. And that way it's something that you all are used to. We've been doing it for 3 years. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's what I'm working on. That's why there's been a little bit of delay. Listen, we weren't going to start till April 1st or second week, first week of April anyway, but I'm trying to squeak in a show on Tuesday as a test show. So that's coming. All right, enough of that. Barbara Mayer, thank you for being on the show. Deborah Sprangler, Pat Brooks, always welcome and good morning to you, my friend. Talked about you last night, mentioned Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle several times. Didn't give one away. I gave away a colored book. I don't have any here. I have ordered some. Yours, I've got a couple being shipped to you. I think they come in. Why it takes them so long, I don't know. Okay. Deborah Lynn Tauber, good morning. Kim Sheets, wake up, it's root time. Sandy Conner, thanks for being on the show. Is it Connor, C-O-N-N-E-R? It's the morning after the auction for Chris and Denise. Yes, it is. Andy Bean, Fagioli, thanks for being on the show. Linda Schleitning, who was in rare form with puns last evening, thank you. Randall Taylor Craven, welcome to the show. Paula Lindy, like windy. It's blowing in Wisconsin this morning. Well, there you go. You're in the right place. Gene Anthalzer, thanks for being on the show. Jason Nichols, my Aru alarm went off. Jason, you had a post on the show that said, the bunny trail roos that you threw away last night, why don't you grab those and make a collage? And wait, listen. Here, see if we can do this. That'd be a way to make a bell out of this thing. Can't do anything else with it. Oh! The little bell rang, and I ran down to the trash can because it hasn't gone to the street yet, because I'm the guy that takes it to the street. And I pulled out the trash. I really did. I pulled out the trash. I put it in look at this. Here is, can you see down in there? These are all the roosters that I ripped up and tore up last night, or yesterday as I was going through this. Like there's a rooster head right there. I mean, I told you I threw away. Look at this. Here's a body. Jason said, why don't you make a collage out of those? And I just went, that's a brilliant idea. And so I've never, I don't know if I can finish it. I'll start it, but I was always confused by the word collage in college. And I've never finished either one of those things in my life. So it's going to be a tough thing to see if I can pull it off. But I'm going to start on it. I loved it. Alice Durham, thanks for being on the show. Catherine Brousseau, Jacqueline Goodrich, Lauren Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson says the auction was fun. Good morning to you, Virginia man. Thanks for being on last night and bidding on some things. And Westra, Bert Crone from Greenville, chilly Greenville. Renee Cummings, thanks for being on from the Villages in Florida. There's a village in Florida. I like Florida. I lived there for 12 years. Up around Ponte Vedra Beach. Well, if you call Ponte Vedra Beach, it was sort of like living at Oz. You get up to 12, go to work at 1, take an hour for lunch, and then at 2 you're done. Jolly good fun. But it was fun while I lived there. I was actually working hard. Karen Pikert, thanks for being on the show. Rue is a hologram. Yeah. June Jones, thanks for being on the show. Trish Brown, Sharon Clark, good morning from the panhandle of Idaho. I didn't know Idaho had a panhandle. I thought it was, I'll have to look that up on my map. I didn't do well. Remember, I didn't finish a collage or college. Rhonda D. Hart from Faith, North Carolina. J.A. Berg, thanks for being on the show. Heather Kuhlman. Ricky Govers, I'll just skip over the middle part of that. Bastinis. Tamberly Marie, welcome. Download Google, translate on your phone, and you can point your phone camera to them. No, I ain't doing that. Okay. But I had a good job just to keep this camera, that camera, this microphone, this computer, and these paints going this morning, Stephen. So you and I'll have coffee and we'll talk about that. Living on the edge, not knowing what the colors are. Jason, you got it, buddy. If you're not living on the edge, people, you're taking up way too much space. All right. Sharon Clifton, Kirk Clifton, thank you for being on. A storyteller she is. Don't you love stories? Don't you love stories? Judy, y'all, hello, cool in Ohio. Oh, tell us what the color names are, please. Okay, there's a Bashungi color. Bashungi is when you just put a little bit of everything in there. And you're like, Bashungi. All right, that's a color. I'm going to get all the Japanese names when I work with them. I'm going to be with them for 2 or 3 days down in Orlando. I'm painting for Yasutoma down there next month at a big art conference. I think there's about 40,000 square feet of art companies from all over the world. And they come in, and then retailers come in and they talk about this. I was just told last week that the people from I don't think Cheap Joe's Art's coming in. He's more family driven, and one reason I like those guys, Cheap Joe and all the American Journey stuff I use, I just like who they are. Come on, I can go to Joe's office and we can tell stories, and that is really important. But she said, hey, you're going to be painting, and the Blick people are going to be coming in, and I'm going like, okay. So, and also Dynasty Brush Company is going to be there, and they've sent me some brushes, so it's just going to be fun. And I think I have one of their brushes on the desk. Let me show it to you here. Wasting a little time, but here we go. Look at this brush right here. I think I've shown you this brush on the desk a couple times. It's called a Thailand. It's made. This was assembled in Thailand from U.S. parts. It's called the Faux Squirrel. And it's called a liner ox reservoir. So there it is, the 1827. So it has this little liner brush on the end. Pat, you might be into this. It's a little liner brush on the end here. And then it has this little faux reservoir that holds a lot of paint. So you don't have to go back to the well too many times. I don't know if I'll have it used for it this morning. I'm going to lay it out here. We'll see what happens. Okay, Steve, Nancy Catlett, thank you for being on the show this morning. If you're both there, Jacqueline Browse from up in northern Minnesota in the home of Babe the Blue Ox. Yep. Sharon Fritz, Neumann Mobus, good morning, Tennessee is glowing today. You are Tom Sawyer. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it? All right. All right, here we go. Raylene Culberson, thank you. Kathy Dietz. All right, I'm skipping on through. Here's why we got to paint. Kathleen Johnson. Sorry to miss the auction. Oh, Kathleen, you missed it. It was fun. Perfect. Stephen just ordered his Matthew's journal. I like it. Gail Anderson, thanks for being on. We live on a hill, and our chicken house is the Coupe de Hill. It's not far from the Coupe de Ville, which was a 1959 Cadillac that I actually was in the film. See how this is a connection? I actually was in the film with Daniel Stern, Ari Gross, and you all might remember Patrick Dempsey. Okay, he came on to be Mr. McDreamy. I worked with him in a film called Coupe de Ville. Was almost fired on the film because I went to the director one day and said, this is not a coupe, right? A coupe is a two-door hardtop, and this is a convertible. But it was a 59 Cadillac, and the movie was called Coupe de Ville. I drove a police car in that thing, and I drove that car into a signpost one time for a fake wreck. I actually was part of the supply crew that I rented old trucks for the movie and prop things. So, yeah, back in the days. That was probably 1980, 80-something. Golly. Jane Gillette, thanks for being on the show. Question, will Patreon members be able to see who the other members are? Yes, I think you're going to see that when they post up, and you're going to know who they are. So that is true, Denise. And by the way, the reason I have gone back to a Facebook page, it's going to be a private page that only Patreon members can get in. The reason I've gone back to that is because you can see each other once you let Ecamm, which is my streaming software, like in the other classes you've taken from me, you'll be able to see who they are for that interaction. I think that's very, very, very important in these classes. And so that's the other reason. I didn't like the way YouTube does that. And I don't like the way the YouTube comments start over here and then they move over here. And then you have to, it's been kind of frustrating. I had this great plan and I've read and read and read. And then I watched other people, and then I said, I don't like the way that is. It's hard for me to get there. I actually take a class, and so I don't like that class. And so I didn't think you would. Morning from beautiful people. All right. Thank you, Jason. I think it's going to work easier for everybody. Lisa Petasaur, which is like dinosaur. Good morning, creative friend. She says, okay, Kristen Stickler from the mountains of West Virginia. Welcome aboard. Hey, I got to get going here. I'd love to say hi to all of you. Valerie Zaleski, thank you from New Jersey. Let's move. All right, good night. There's a lot of people on today. Thank you all for being here. Pat Hahn Normandale, thank you so much. Here we go. Here's the big old painting. But first I have to show you, I'm not going to go into this because I'm wasting time. I'm not wasting time. It's time. If you're either killing time or time's killing you. So there, we'll kill some time. I found this painting from 2012. Can you see this? Look at this. Two little roosters here having a morning talk, and I visualized this at the fence. If you remember, in 2012, we landed on Mars. Not people, but the lunar lander on Mars. And I was very interested because you got to realize, living in Florida, going down to Canaveral, watching shuttle launches, I got to go there and video John Glenn in the shuttle. And so in the 90s. And so I was, I know where I was in 87, when the Challenger exploded. I met Guy Gardner, who was, he was an awesome guy, no pun intended. I met him and had a conversation, had lunch with him one day, and we talked about what it was like, and then I heard him speak. It was what it was like when his team went back out 2 years after the Challenger flew. They were the guys who had the patch with the 7 stars of the astronauts, like angels, and he helped develop that. And they went out, and he said, getting in that space shuttle was like putting 10 million tons of TNT on your back, and then they light the fuse. And you're going somewhere. You just don't know where you're going. And so it was fun. And so I followed the space program for a while. I didn't want to be an astronaut as a kid, because I'll tell you why. I saw one of the testing things that astronauts have to go through, and roller coasters make me just sick. So I thought, there's no way I'm doing that. I experienced G's in a biplane flying upside down, so you don't want me in a capsule. So we landed on Mars. So here's the caption. I've kept this on my desk for all that time. Mars, we landed on Mars. Mars? We landed on Mars? What would be the point of that? What's the point of you standing on the fence every morning at 4 a.m. and waking up everybody with a crow? They have an alarm. Touche. And so that's the kind of stuff that I was doing back then. And then I did this one just this past year when I was up in Maine. It's the rooster meeting the lobster there on the Maine rocks. Look, we both got stir in our names. Stir, not stir, S-T-I-R, S-T-E-R. Look, we're bright. We both were made into weather vanes. We're market icons. We're cups. We're tea towels. We're plates. We're silver platters. Both of us are served as food. Hold on, he says. 4 out of 5 ain't bad. And so I just love to look at life with that little bit of a bent. I love when humor takes two men walking down the street, as one of the great, might have been, who knows, one of the great comics said years ago, humor is when two men are walking down the street and the man in front is eating a banana and the man behind's not paying any attention. He's whistling along, and lo and behold, the man finishes the banana and he throws the banana peel over his shoulder, and you're thinking, oh no, there's a pratfall coming. The man behind is going to be, he's going to step on the banana peel and crash, boom, he's going to fall. And so what happens is he looks, he sees the banana, he jumps over it with a big smile on his face, but he goes down a manhole. And that's the misdirection of humor. All right, here we go. All right, I'm out of here. Reminds me of the Far Side. Cam says, I'm in Parkersburg. Well, thank you for that, Miss Lawson. Parkersburg. We'll have to point our phone on that. Here we go. This is the piece of paper. Let's put on some heartfelt music. What do you say? Something like this. What is it? I have no idea. Look at this. I've laid out some amazing Japanese colors, which I don't know what they're called. And I've also laid out some amazing Japanese brushes, which I do know what they're called. Someone asked me a question the other day. They said, hey, I ordered a number 1, and honestly, it looks much, much bigger than the number 1 you do on the show. Well, that's because this is CCI, and this is SW. or an all-purpose. So what I've been giving away on the show, and a couple of you have still not received. I just got an email. I don't know why they didn't make it. They're being shipped from California. Maybe that has something to do with it. But this one is the all-purpose brush, number 1, and this is the CCI brush, number 1. This is more calligraphy. This was more for you name it, or this was more for calligraphy. This was the you name it art. This is the JB900, and I'm going to tell you, I asked them, okay, look at all the writing on this, which I have no idea what it says. I said, what does JB900 represent? How do you code these? And she said, well, it just means Japanese brush. I'm going, I love the simpleness of you people. You're my people. I know I came from German, but I might have some Japanese in there somewhere. All right, so here we go. It's a Lamy pen. Let's crank it up. Let's paint a big old roo. Just no pencil sketch. Let's just paint this thing. So here we go. I'm going to pull this down so you can see it right here. This is a 24 by 18, and I'm just going to do a big old roo this morning. And with these colors, I don't know how this will work. I usually use liquid colors for this, so I'm going to just throw these colors at it. Here we go. Let's see. First, I got to have him looking out this way right here. There's, oh man, whew, lucked out on that beak. That's a good one, even if I did make it myself. Okay. I think he's an old roo. He's got this little pot belly here. He's coming down. He's like us old guys when gravity falls. Okay, what was up here is now down here, you know. And so, yeah, that's what happens. Okay. I met some young men recently, and they were all working out, and they said, hey, do you still work out? I went, man, I just get tired of being strong. Cool, howdy, neighbor. Oh, my gosh, I love that. You guys sounds like a painting retreat to me. Okay, you guys are onto your whole thing. Speaking of Parkers, look at this. This is a Parker fountain pen Junior. This is, look at this. Compare it to my Lamy pen. Look at that. This was my father-in-law's pen. And we're not sure if it's 1937 yet or 1947. There's a misprint in the little beep, but I found one like it. It is gold. It's not the fake material. It's really gold. It has a gold nib. It's called the Parker Vacuumatic. Look at that. You push that into the ink and it sucks it up. I'm going to have to rebuild the little washer inside, but I found one the other day that has not been restored for $290 at Sotheby's. I think I want to get this thing working again just because of the size of it. And just when I'm sitting at the table with my little pack of Altoid box colors, I can just sketch with this and then paint. Don't you love that? I love it. All right, so I'm going to redo it. I didn't find it. I had it in a box, and I just dug it out when I was looking for all this other stuff that I do. I like this little bitty eye on this rooster, and I'm going to go right here and just put another little piece. This is a Lamy pen with Lamy ink. Hey, I'm pretty picky about my inks. Don't put other people's ink in this Lamy pen. Just use their ink. It works really well. It's designed to flow really well in the block. And I think you're going to love it better if you do. I think it's going to make you a happier camper. If you're using a Kakuno pen or a Kakuno pen or a Kakuno pen, put Pilot ink in these pens. By the way, I just ordered some sepia ink. I'm branching out, Jason. You're pushing me. And I've got some green ink and red ink coming in just when I'm on the road to just touch up with some bleeds. Most of the time, I just use the black. And then, of course, in the preppy pens or wherever they are, the little preppies. Here's an 05 preppy. I use these ceramic cartridges in here too. Just give you a little update. And that's the kind of stuff that I'll be doing on the show all the time. I experiment with a lot of painting supplies to make my life easier, not make it just more cluttered, which, yes, I tend to do that too. But it's not my goal in life. My goal is not to just clutter this thing up. I think he's going to be painting out here like this, or he's going to be standing out like this with this limb. Kind of, that's the way I like to draw my rooster leg sometimes. I'm going to do some just scatters with hatch marks there, right there. See that? I'm going fast, and so this pen is barely skipping, driving a little bit, and so I kind of like where that's headed. I'm going to put some color up in here like this. I want to put a little bit here. I want a little shadow coming down here. This leg is underneath. So, and I want some little turns in here like feathers. See those coming in like that? And my music quit, so I got to put it on something else because I got to have some music to paint this morning. I need it. What I really need is a nostril transplant today. Golly, I'm into pollen season, people, like the rest of us, but everything here is green. That's a big old roof. He's big size. Take a look. All right, so we've got to do a little crosshatch down here because we got to get this in. I'm going to do something else over here. No, I'm going to do it right now, I think. I don't do many backgrounds, but I think this one calls for something on this paper that's kind of a little bit of, yeah, there we go. Ha! A little distance there. Yeah, that works. All right, let's grab some water and just go to it here a little bit. I sprayed these a little earlier. I'm going to spray them just one more time back here. I'm going to move them away from my painting, and I'm just going to spray back here. Just give it another little spray to loosen these pans up. And note, these are just little short pans like this. See this? One of the advantages, I think, from this block of paints and pans, one, they're very thick and lustrous. They're not like dried cakes that you get in the Crayola little, 25,000 colors in this one little block for $3.95. Don't be suckered into that, please. Buy the best art supplies you can afford, okay? And you are going to appreciate it later for how your art changes and climbs. Weak tools make for a weak craftsman. I really do believe that. Look, I think a good Craftsman screwdriver works well. I think a good Black & Decker, maybe not. They don't even make a good coffee pot. So be careful what you do. Okay, so here I'm going to grab a little bit of water, just clean water, and I'm going to use this big old brush. Look at the size of this thing. I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to come in and drop some. Look what happens when I wet this brush. Remember how frilled out it was? Now look at the tip. Beautiful. All right. I feel like I'm painting to a symphony that maybe just got stuck in the turnip field. All right, I'm just going to put a little water in here. Just wake this up a little bit. And down here too. And this ink is going to go like crazy on this paper. Then we'll come in here and just drop some red in here. And man, I'm talking, this is red. Woo, baby. Oh, I'm going to find out what color red this is because it is kicking. So I'm going to go here and grab a little more of this because it's a little less red. But I love the orange red in this. That's a pretty cool color, actually. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. I'm going to put a little piece over here too, just to let it go in. Now I'm going to come in and just put some water in here. Just a little bit of splash. Just this thing is like painting. The only difference between this and what you mop the bathroom floor with is this doesn't come with a bucket. I mean, it is a heck of a brush. Probably put too much water right there. I have to come in and grab some of that. I want a little bit of blue in here, and this is the other thing I was going to tell you that I love about this paint. Let me move it over and show you. I can lay this brush in right here, look, and just roll it on its side, and look at all the color in this brush. Okay, I mean, this is probably enough paint to paint 100 roofs the way I normally do them. Look at this. I'm just letting this brush glide across the paper, and it is so fun. Okay. Man, that was awesome. I love doing that. Okay, a little bit of green in there. Whoa, that's a serious green. I'm thinking that must be Japanese emerald. I don't know what that is, but I love it. I can't wait to meet with these folks. There's some names coming to this event from Yasutoma that I could not even start to pronounce. And they're all looking, I'm looking forward to meeting them. And they said, we're looking forward to meeting you. And I'm going like, okay, this is just going to be a fun introduction because I don't know who you people are. And it's going to be so amazing. So I will keep you posted on that. I'm probably going to do a post from down in Atlanta. I'll be there on the 9th, so I won't be painting. What's the day on that? Yeah. Can I open my calendar without tearing things up? Yes. Can you still see me? I've opened it. It's going to be April. I'll be there on April 9th, so I won't be painting Saturday morning. So next Saturday, I will not be painting. I'll be on an airplane flying in, and then I'll post. I'll certainly post during the weekend one time just to break in on Facebook, and then I'll probably post Monday morning, the 11th. To figure out about my class on. Oh no, I'm not doing a class on Tuesday the 5th. Ha! So there we go. Solve that. All right, so that's a little thing that we'll be doing. Okay. Loving where this is going so far. I want to get a little bit of black and just pull it in here. That's not black, that's blue. This must be black over here. Let's see if that's going to be black. Using this brush is really crazy how much color and things is laying down. It is pretty remarkable. I should have brought in a mop bucket with water in it, clean water. So I'm going to grab and change these pads. I'm going to need a whole lot more blotting over here. And so much for keeping my old English pub table dry. I've already got it soaked. All right, a little touch of this here. I like just splattering that red right in that body like that. That's kind of fun looking so far. Yeah, the brush is pretty remarkable. I'm just going to tell you, it is... it's pretty out of sight, and it's huge. So you're moving a lot of paint, and I'll show you something you can do with this brush that maybe you don't know. A little demo with a brush like this. Let me use a smaller one, and I'll show you. Here is this is that CC1. So I'm going to ruck it out, just wake it up a little bit. I wake up my brushes and my paint by just putting them into clean water. I'm going to go in here. I think this needs a little bit of maybe a little bit of gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch some gray down on the back side of this brush right here, just as white actually. And then I'm going to go into the black and just get a little bit of black in the tip right there. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a little bit of this turquoise just right on the end, right there. And then I'm just going to roll this brush. I should have tried that, but I think I'm just going to roll this brush in like this right here, just on its side. And just let some feathers come down that are really mixed colors all the way from the beginning. I want it a little darker on the roo's belly here to get lost in the mountains a little bit. All right, so I'm going to pull some more water in there, put some of that gray. Now I want to come in with a little bit of this turquoise, because I always like to put a little turquoise. And I'm not sure that's really turquoise, but it is if I put some more blue with it, I bet. A little bit of this blue. These are a different color palette for me completely, so I'm really trying to figure out what they do and where they go, especially, and it's not that I care what they're called. It doesn't matter to me what they're called. Some serious green in this bird. I'm going to put some wings down here that are a little bluer. Yeah, I like where he's going a little bit. I could use a little bit of orange, and I don't see any orange in here, but I'm going to pull something right in there like that. Maybe a little more on his back coming up, and a piece coming across here like this. Got a lot of bright colors in him, maybe too much wiggle, wobble, schmuggle in there. So I'm going to take a paper towel, and I'm going to take some of this and just take it out. There, like that, right there. Just lighten that section up a little bit to leave some of those black spots of rings, or wings. Did I say rings? I'm going to be speaking Japanese before this is over. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to let that come in with a little bit of this orange and yellow and red, and where am I going to mix that? Right here. That's perfect over here on the side. And I'm going to let my yellow come in and just be a little bit of yellow, red there. I'll go back and clean that pan up later by taking some paint out of there. Come in with a little red, come in with some of this yellow, and let that mix just on the leg like that to give me my leg color. So, making this up as I go, people, this is how you experiment. You just go in and go. And by the way, in all of this, I probably haven't, as far as wasting paint, you say, oh, I'm wasting so much paint. No, I'm barely using paint. As a matter of fact, I got way more paint in here than I really needed. I didn't need that much. And so that's me learning how to calibrate what this is. It's there is a lot of pigment in this paint, I'll tell you that. So I'd probably come back in and use a smaller brush, but I wanted you to see how fast this thing could come around the horn. I mean, this is a big old rooster, and it's only taken me just a few minutes to punch it together. Let's see, if I come in here with a little green yellow and come over this pen, it should give me a little bit of a nice shadow underneath. That's the advantage of that Lamy pen melting in, and a little bit of this coming here. Can you see? Yeah, you can see where I'm going there. That's great ground color. Let's go in here and get a little bit of, let's mix out of here now. Let's grab a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and come in here and do the mountain range behind him with a little blue-green back here. It is hard not to start sounding like Bob Ross. Let's put a little tree right up here. I don't mean that. And that's out of complete whatever to that guy. He was brilliant in his own way. He was brilliant. The documentary that's out about him is really kind of sad in a way, just because our country, there'll be people who can find ways to take advantage of anybody, and so it'll happen. But he was quite the encourager, and I love that. He said, "This has never been about painting. It's always been about people." And I read the Facebook comments last night from the auction, and I thought, wow, this has never really been about painting. This is about people coming together and enjoying life, and just saying, we're using media for good things. We're visiting, we're having conversations. You guys are carrying on conversations now that are just hilarious. And it's just happening, you're happening. It's I having a discussion this week with one of my consulting jobs, and we were talking about storytelling and why it's so important and where it has gone. And he said, well, it's gone. And I said, I'll tell you why it's gone. We studied this when I was doing some story work with Disney, and it's gone by the way of the tribal fire. And he goes, what? Explain that to me. And I said, where did the values of your farm and your family and all that where did they come from? They came by the tribal fire originally. The people sat around the fire and they cooked and they ate, and the sun went down and they talked, and then they got ready. Even if the pioneers or the settlers or whoever they were, it was the tribal fire. But then the light bulb came, and they got to go in, so they didn't need the tribal fire. The light, they put the candles. They had electric light, so they went inside, and they did sit as around the fireplace or the table, and so they had light. And then, of course, television and media came, who said, "Your stories aren't important. We'll tell better stories." And so then they were pulled into directions of the house, and now we have this media that we see all the people walking around like this into. And they're in their own little fire, and they're connected with somebody, which I am with you. And then yet you guys are breaking that down by coming around one of those again as a group. Can it work? Yes, it's working here. Is it the best? Probably not. I would still love for you to go to the back fence and say, Mars, we went to Mars? What for? And you say, well, because, why did we spend so much money on space? I'll tell you why. It's because space age people were inventors. They created the best glues we've ever seen. They created the best heat transfer, the best insulation you've ever seen. And it was also, you pour millions into it, but look what you get out. You get out communications. And anyway, it's easy for me as a storyteller to link all that together. But don't give up the tribal fire of inviting people around your table. Don't give up the tribal fire and that's why I end each show by saying, sip in the cup and send somebody a note right now. At least you're connecting to them. They can look at it and they can go, and you say, pass this on. Just tell somebody else. So big old Roo, you know, he's not my best Roo. He'll probably find his way to the bunny trail, but that doesn't matter. I wanted you to see a different color, different style of painting today. Whoa, man, there's a lot. I'm telling you, this is like painting with a mop, serious mop. And I got a lot of water up here. It's on my computer. It's on everything. I think the caption on this is pretty clear. I think he's out here looking at his domain. I think he's out here surveying. This is what a rooster would do. He's out here surveying the, whatever it is that roosters survey. I don't know what that is. Let's put a little of this yellow right in there. Get that little beak, a little color. Let's go back in here. Spread this out just a little bit like this. Yeah, I tell you what happened was so much water ran on, this is a thinner piece of paper, so much water ran on this paper, took out a lot of the holidays that I normally like to leave in paintings like this. But I'll come back in with a pen or a pencil and I'll do some detail like so, put on some toenails like so, put on some of this, come in here like this, maybe here. So keep going for this community, keep pushing one another, keep encouraging one another, and even though you're hundreds and thousands of miles apart, it doesn't mean that you can't connect with people and encourage them from the distance. So COVID has changed the neighborhood fence. So continue to be a part of that tribal fire. Continue to be a part of it. You know, that's the Roost Crew is a tribe. Roost Crew is a group of people who come together as a tribe. You all are a tribe. Oh my gosh, you share stuff. You go, whoa, put red there. Do this with that. Oh, I love that. You're not offended by those comments because you've grown to appreciate the relationships of people saying, they're not saying this out of harshness. They're saying this out of truth and saying, you know, that's what I loved about the American Idol years ago, that although Simon originally, in its original thing, they wanted to be rude because they thought that the show needed the drama. And now they want it to be heartfelt, like The Voice is. It says, this is not your time, but don't give up. Stay behind the mule, okay? All right, so we got to put some sky in this thing. So let's put a little sky up there. Let's just get a clean brush here and throw some water up in here. I'm gonna move here. I'll just use this big old brush. Why not? I've used it for everything else. Come in here and just do some mopping. Yeah, does that sound like the Three Stooges? And then I'm going to take my brush and roll it here in the tail a little bit. Nope, can't do that. It's gone. Okay, so I'll pick up some here. Holy smokes! Just to touch that brush in that paint, and I have all this water. I don't need much here. I just need a little bit. I need something I don't have. I need some red here. I need some purple. Oh, yeah, there it is. I need a little bit of purple here. I needed some on this mountain back here, too. I needed that. I need a little red. I need a little sunset yellow coming in there. Touch of red right there. I like using my painting as the palette and coming back in. That's a good way to do that. There's a little white. There's a little black. I don't want that black right there. I want to get rid of that, but I want a dark cloud hanging up here too, because it's a real sky. So we'll just let that dry in and see what happens. All right, that's kind of fun. And just do it like this a little bit and play with it. There it is. So there's a little bit of sky up there now. I think the caption is going to be, maybe I should do something else here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got time. Let's put a little bit of, let's put some grass down here just with the pen. Let's put you know what grasshopper weeds are? You know, there's those little, I like grasshopper weeds. We used to take them and bend them over and shoot the little thing off the end. Grasshopper weeds, I don't know. Somebody can tell me what they really recall. It's a long piece that has looks like a miniature pine cone on the end of it. We call them grasshopper weeds because grasshoppers would sit on them. And so speaking of grasshoppers, watch this. I'm going to draw one right here. A pretty big one, actually. So he can be found in there. Oh my God, I love it when my pen just works. I haven't drawn a grasshopper in ages, and he's sitting there on a grasshopper wing. All right, so love to zoom in and look at the details. Okay, we'll do that in just a second. We'll zoom in and do. Oh, you're love to zoom in and do that. Yeah, that's kind of fun because you don't see much on a big painting like this. I'm afraid to tell you, but let's see. I need a little grasshopper color. Let's get some yellow here, right here. A little yellow in the brush. Let's get a little bit of green right here, and let's get a little bit of this jade green. A little more yellow right here, and let's come down and see. Oh, that's going to be perfect for the grasshopper. There he is. Look at that right there. A little more green, I think. Perfect. And then some green here, just a throw these grasshopper weeds. I don't know what they're called. Remember, I just told you I didn't know what they were called. No, you think that's a snack. I don't think so. The Roo World community is marvelous. We are a tribe of inspiring. Yeah, and see that word as a elevation of who you are. Maybe you've read The Tribe. I think, was it Malcolm Gladwell who wrote The Tribe, or was it Seth Godin who wrote The Tribe? That says with 1,000 people in your tribe, you can do amazing things in the world. Roodoodles has more than 1,000 people, and look what you all are doing. You are helping kids and grandkids and school kids and teachers and retired teachers and golfers and retired golfers and to paint. You are teaching them that painting is not just, it's therapy for me, but it's good for the soul. It's good for the heart. It is a way to tell a story, okay? How many times am I going to say this? I hope more if God keeps me on this planet longer, and that is this. Do you paint to tell stories or still tell stories to paint? Yes. There. Answered that, didn't I? Yes. Okay. Okay, he's messy, he's big, but here's what he's saying right here. Okay, I'm gonna do some splatters before I tell you what he's saying here. I'm just gonna get a little bit of splatter, and I'm gonna come in here. What's the matter with the splatter? And I just want to come in here and just splatter some blue in there. And then I think I'll need a little bit of dirt down here in the end. Let's go right in here and get some dirt. Let's get some of this brown and some of the black right here, and just kind of come in here and just scatter some dirt around here like this. So this is Grasshopper. He's saying, someday, I got to move these over. I'm going to push them over in the floor. And if that hits the carpet in the floor, oh well. You know, this room, I didn't recarpet because it went from a workroom to an office to now an art studio, so we're not worried about it anyway. We live in this house, and, you know, people are in this house all the time. Had a group in it last week for dinner. Pretty awesome. Tuesday night, we had 8 people over for dinner, and it was just remarkable. And we had no agenda other than to pull around the tribal fire and tell stories. Just find out who they were. And they are the most diverse group. It's fantastic. There is a meteorologist who gets up at 4:30 every morning. And you know what he does? He does his assignment and gets it word out to the farmers early. And farmers also who might be selling wheat and corn and things early if they're going to the market with it. And they're going like, oh, got to cut this today. Got to get this out of the farm today. And so he says, I got to be home by 8:30 because I got to go to bed. I get up at 3. A young lady who is an artist, and was a portrait artist. And she goes, wait, how come I don't do art anymore? And I go, I can't answer that for you, but you should start now. And she's working at Trader Joe's and loves it because she is a foodie and an artist. But she's saying, I think I need my next step in the world, and I don't know where that is. And there's a lady who's 72, and she is a school teacher and teaches 7th grade math. Those are just 3 of the people that we never met before who showed up at our house for dinner. I'm not kidding you. That's what I love about the fire, of people to come and stand by the fire. I got a friend of mine who he and I are working on this concept right now. And it all starts with the fire. All right. So there it is. I'm going to write the caption on this. Here it is. It says, someday, all this will be yours. Hey, where did they all go? All right, so I shifted gears on you there. You know what I love about that? I love the rooster out there going, someday all this will be yours. And really probably what I need is to do this little thing right here where I just need to do some tracks and some little feathers up in the air right here, just like where they've all flown. And there's just little streaks of people running out of there, just imaginary folks who are saying, we're gone. We're not here anymore. We ran away. Maybe he's out there telling the story to the whole family, and they're not there anymore. So there's the rooster. So crazy as it is, take a look. There's some of the mixed color. Just really kind of muddy a little bit. And these colors, I'm going to have to work with that a little bit when I get to Florida to make sure how they do on rice paper. So I'm going to do a quick demo. I got about 5 minutes to go this morning. Uh, I went ziplining with a friend who's 86. I love that. Oh my gosh. Wondering how you met. I met them through a group of people who just sort of wanted to show up at my house for a small group this year. I've got a group of people. Carol and I have a group of people coming in, and we are going to study and talk about Israel. What? Yeah, we're just going to do a whole study on Israel in hopes that someday we're going to go back. We haven't been in several years. I think this is my favorite rooster so far. Well, Lori Stanley Hendelmeyer Henderson, thank you so much, my dear. This is on 140-pound paper. I'm going to move him out of the way, and I'm going to show you one more quick thing really quickly this morning. This is watercolor paper. The paper underneath is just a thin drawing paper that I put down to protect the desk. So I want you to know this is thick. Listen to this. This is thick watercolor paper, and it's going to dry really well. I kind of like it myself. I'll come back in and do a little bit of detail for the eye, and also, see, I'll come back later. Don't you love it how he says he'll come back later, put some eyelashes in. Maybe I won't come back later. Maybe, by golly, I'm just done right now. Maybe I like this rooster like he is. I love these little lines right here. Can you see that right there? You can't, but what I'm seeing is I'm seeing this pen bleed in with this color, and I'm getting a great feel for how this ink is rolling in there and just making some real hatch mark lines that I love. I'm going to put some little dots in here. He's an old Roo. He and I have a lot in common. Sometimes I go stand in the garage and I look at my shop and my blacksmith shop, and I look at all my tools and the stack of just stuff I have out there. I started using another word, crap, that I have out there. And I look at that and I just go, someday all this will be. And my kids go like, Dad, we don't want that stuff. Get rid of it. And so it's about time for a big old garage sale, because you know what? I'm on another mission. One is to get rid of pollen. All right, so there we go. Ta-da! The big Roo. Look at how big he is. All right, I'm throwing him over there. He's in the floor. Now remember, this is just my thin little drawing paper. Okay, this is like tissue paper size, but it holds the water back from. That's why it has another piece under it right here this morning. It holds the water back. You see how it wrinkles up. It's not good painting paper. That was good painting paper. This paper is not great painting paper either. But I want you to see this piece of paper. Some friends took us out to dinner a couple weeks ago. It was Carol's birthday in February, but as you know, she celebrates for a month and a half, and so they took us out. And as they were clearing the table, I asked the guy if I could have the paper tablecloth. We were in an Italian restaurant, and he said, well, there's a little bit of stuff on it. I said, that's okay. He said, no, let me give you a fresh one. And he had ripped off a fresh piece of this paper for the tablecloth. This, of course, they put on top of the linen tablecloth so they can change over their. And I always draw on this, and I said, I want to do a painting on this whole piece of paper. So this is a piece of paper. Look at the size of this. So I'm going to do a big painting on this, and I think it should be really fun. And it's going to paint, I think, a lot like, it's a little different than when we go to the French restaurant. Their paper is a little more like a schoolhouse drawing paper that you'd get to do art projects on for school. This is a little more, I don't know what the word is. Sorry I'm making so much noise with it, but I'm going to keep it over there. I just want you to see it. Because when you draw on thinner paper with inks and Asian tools, you have to be sometimes very careful about how that works and how much water are in pieces like that. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. If I take this brush here and I move it up like this, and I stop, and then I move it up and I stop, and I move it up and I stop, and I move it up and I stop, and I push down, and then kind of come out. It's sort of how, and a little bit more dark on the next one to come up. And so you see how fun this is to roll the brush on its side there and come up like this. And so then come in with some different strength of this right in here and just put it in the little joints of the bamboo. And so when you come in like this, and I don't use a lot of Japanese tools, but you can see that taking on the effect of the bamboo paintings already. Can you see that? It's just, it's coming together. And you go, wow, if he practiced this, he could probably be pretty good at it, I bet. And so and there's lots of different ways to paint this, and come down here and then come back in with a little darker piece. And then you, of course, you go in here and you just lay this down. You start a sweeping motion. You lay it down like this, and you bring it out and you bring it up. And then you start in and you bring it up, and then you bring it up. And so that's how you get your leaves in. If you bring it out and you come up, and you let the brush do the work for you, and you don't have to go back too much. And you can't see the darkness of this color. The light is too bright for you to see this, but there's one there, and there's one there, there's one there, and then there's one coming up here, and that one needs a little tail. It's hard to go back. You want to do it in one stroke if you can. And so that gives you a little idea of the bamboo. And then I could come back and just grab a little piece of yellow, or yellow. Just grab some of this yellow. Oh, these are Japanese colors. That's yellow. Oh my gosh, I can see me doing this live right now. And you know what? It's going to be really going to be embarrassing to paint with real Japanese artists that have apprenticed and been doing this all their life. That is just going to be a fun thing. So it gives you an idea. Now, do you see all of the squiggles in this paper? But let me see if I can show you where the light's not shining on it too brightly. So there it is. So that gives you an idea of the advantage of sometimes Japanese brushes, these are called Japanese brushes, bamboo brushes. Lots of companies make bamboo brushes. I've just become a fan over the years by the construction from the Yasutoma company. And so that's kind of why you see me using Yasutoma brushes. I found them before they found me. I had a Yasutoma brush from Cheap Joe's Art. Cheap Joe sells them. And I found this brush, and one day a picture, I think I know you know the story. I got a picture on an email of my hand like this and a brush, and it was like this. And someone said, "Is this your hand? Because we recognize the brush, Phoebe Lee." And I said, "Yes, my hand, my brush. Who are you?" And she said, "Well, we are Yasutoma. We make those brushes, and we'd like to call you. Could we do so?" So I sent her my phone number. We had just the most pleasant hour conversation, and we laughed, and we talked about art supplies, and she told me about Yasutoma, some of the stuff you've heard on this show because we've talked about it. She told me the story of David Yasutoma, who came from Japan to bring these art supplies to America because Americans wanted good Asian art supplies. Asian people, the Japanese people, have studied this sumi ink, and I didn't use ink, this is watercolor, but sumi ink and that brush for so long, and they apprenticed under it for years. And I found that out to be true in the Chinese culture too. I didn't even know anything about this at all, still don't know much. And so that's how I got to know them. And they were shipping supplies here. Mr. Yasutoma was, David Yasutoma, in 1954. And then he was using the shipping crates to ship snack cakes back to the Japanese. And I'm going like, yes, what kind of snack cakes was he shipping back? Was it moon pies? Because I'm from the South. So I wanted to know. All right, so that'll give you a little idea of what I do in my spare time. I just make a mess here when I have some time. But this is the kind of stuff that I'll experiment with and we'll do in our class. Last minute or two, it's 10 o'clock already and I got to go. Teresa Miller, thank you for being on the show. It's been forever since I've watched you. Well, just wake up earlier and watch, my dear friend. Blessings to you. So here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to remind you that posted to your page today is a link for Patreon. For those of you who want to be a part of Patreon, and why would you do this? I'm not going to teach any normal classes anymore. I've never taught a normal class because I'm not normal, but it's going to be Patreon. I'm going to teach a 90-minute class a month. It will stay recorded, so you can come and see it when you want. It's going to stay on the page. You can see it. It's very much like it's going to lock in on a Facebook page. That's the plan for right now. We'll know by the end of the day for sure. But you can go to Patreon. Patreon is just a way that your payment is secure, and you're billed $11.57 every month. Unless you want to pay more than that, you can. That money is used to support me to take time to rehearse and practice and put classes together, and also go visit artists and do interviews with artists and meet other interesting people that I'll be doing that for. And then, of course, part of that payment also, well, not part of it, but for that whole thing too, I still am doing my Bible journey thing, which has been just remarkable for me. Not only is it helping me spiritually in my head and my heart, it's also helped my art to just do a little quick doodle that helps me remember. And that's really important for us today. And I love sharing that with kids. Not so much the message I'm trying to get. I'm just saying you can take notes like this and remember things. Pat is brilliant at sketchnoting. And we've been talking about sketchnoting for 2 years and what it's like to go in and just draw a little picture that represents what you remember. And you'll go, I can recall the story because of the picture. So that's what I'm doing in my We're going to start in the Bible, book of Matthew. So all that's out there. It's available. Loved again. Thank you for your part in the auction. And today I feel like Tom Sawyer. You painted my fence. God bless you all. Take a sip right now. June Jones, you were on... Oh, really? Yesterday was on Yasatoma live video, and Phoebe and her coworker. Oh, that'd be Karen. Sweet lady Karen. They mentioned you and your awesome dragonflies. Well, I was watching Karen paint a dragonfly one day, and she was drawing the wings out like this, and she was bringing them in and drawing the wings out like this. And so who's in a hurry, right? Me, I'm not. And so she was doing it, the dragonfly like this, and he was coming down, and I loved it. And she said, you started me drawing dragonflies, and it was really fun to see what you were doing. And so she took probably a blending crayon and just did something like that. This is a China marker. And then she probably took a little color. Let's see what kind of color she took here. And she probably just washed it through like so, and put a little bit of color in there, and maybe a little bit of red orange down in the body. I thought I had some red orange coming in there. Red orange coming in the body like that, and maybe a little green up here like this, just right in there. Little emerald, and then some wings. And then before she finished it, I said, put a little yellow down in there, just like this. And then just grab your spray bottle and give it a little spray like this. And then just let it kind of blow a little bit and go. And so I just threw my paper towels away. But so I messed that one up. But you get the idea of you just loosely throw this dragonfly in there, and you go, don't work too hard on this stuff. Make it fly, make it loose, make it go. And you wind up with a fun little painting. Okay, we're out of here. Hey, thanks for being a part of the show today. And let's do this. Pick up your cup and think of who you're going to contact right now. Saturday morning, okay? I'm going to go downstairs and grab the Bon Vivant. And I think we're going to trip you off to the French restaurant for a pastry. I'm thinking I need a croissant. Got my list on the wall. Yes. Love it, love it, love it. All right. What size was the smaller Yasatoma brush? That is a number 1 PW, or no, yes. The one I just used was I don't know what I did with it. I left it in the water. It is a number 1 all-purpose SW. Number 1 all-purpose SW1. SW1. There it is right there.